What's going on, guys? Alright, so now we're plus or minus about 10 hours from the last time we saw each other. Got some sleep. Now I'm going to go ahead and take these bolts out, leaving these bolts the hell alone. Once they're in, they're in. Leave them. With these bad boys, obviously I can't install the intake manifold that way, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those loose, get everything else ready, and then we're going to go outside and remove the old intake, and I'm going to take you step by step through how to do that. And then we're going to come back inside with the old intake, and we're going to swap the injectors over, then we're going to install the fuel rail, and we're going to put the fuel rail on, injectors, all that good stuff here, so that when I go out there, all I got to do is plug and play. This is how you work ahead. Okay, so we're here in the back. We're going to do step one to yanking off the old intake manifold. Locate the fuel pump relay. Look in here, you can see here. It's right here. Oh. Fog lamp relay. Maybe one of these fuckers here. Let's see. So here's a fuse puller as per the diagram. Let's go ahead and orient the cover to the layout. That way we don't get lost. So spare fuse puller, right? So that means you're gonna be the fuel pump relay. Out you come. So now what we're gonna do is go back to the front. And you're just gonna try to start it 3 or 4 times. Obviously it's not gonna start, but that's cool. And just like that, there's no more fuel pressure. Oops. Alright, so pre-position everything I'm gonna need. And we'll be back. So, I've got my fuel line routed here. I've got to remove the MSD harness, which I've just kind of temporarily installed anyway, because I had to switch my intake. And, I mean, that's really about it. So, once I get this out of the way, I'm going to disconnect the MAP sensor, which you can see I've already extended to go back there. And we're going to get this all pulled out and continue on our merry little journey. Okay, so you're going to take the fuel line disconnect tool, which I need to go up one size. Alright, so you take this without dropping it, and you just pop it over here, push in, you gotta push and push. and you'll know it when you get it right. It helps when you remember to remove the safety clip, which I forgot to do. Just in case you can't see it here. It's two little blue tabs and you just gotta kind of work it out slowly. Kind of hook a fingernail or something under there. I just relocked it. Alright. Try using a flat tip real quick. Hope I don't fuck something up, but this safety lock has got to come out. Alright, fuck it. I'm just gonna break it from there. So, just a side note, if you have the stock setup, you would just use that tool that I used and break it there. Looks like I need 18 millimeter. Nope, 19. I'll be back. Just want to give you guys a quick side note. You'll notice that my fuel rail setup is a little bit different than a completely stock one. That's because my injectors are actually taller. So because I've got an LS6 length injector on an LS2 motor, I have to have these little spacers here. So you're going to see these spacers again on the fast 92 intake manifold. But for right now, pretty much everything else is going to be the same. If you see I had to break the fuel connection there, you probably won't have to do that with the stock one. Just give you guys a little heads up about that. So now the fuel lines are off, the fuel rails are off, the injectors are out. The only thing that's left is we got to take these, and they are 8mm if I remember correctly. Let's find out. Yes. These are 8mm. We're going to go ahead and break these loose. An extension helps. Doesn't really matter which way you take them off. What matters is how you torque them when you put them back in, because there is a torque sequence. And we will go through that on the reinstallation. So right now I'm just cracking them loose. Then I'm going to grab my drill, because these are really long bolts. Alright guys, so you can see I had a little bit of trouble with the brake booster hose back here at the back. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to pull out these 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 bolts. We're going to pull them out one by one, and we're going to change them out for the fast button head screws. If you do not do this, it's not going to seal. As you can see, all this lovely crap that's all over here, that's from it not sealing. So don't be that guy. I'm gonna go change the battery and I'll be back. Okay guys, and we're back. So I've gone ahead and just broke torque on these bolts here. As you can see, I've got FOD control going on here. If I had some masking tape, I would greatly prefer to just mask off all of those ports. But as you can see from down in here, I got some gunk. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a brush, get all that cleaned out, and then we're going to start replacing these one by one. As you can see, I've already broken the torque. It's 18 foot-pounds of torque. As you go through and replace these, Just so you guys are aware, it's 18 foot-pounds of torque. Use a goddamn torque wrench. Don't be a retard. Ugga Dugga is not a torque. I don't care what Sloppy says. Use the right tools for the right job. So I'm gonna get basically a 1-inch paintbrush. I'm just gonna sweep this, as much of this crap out here as I can. I'm gonna be coming forward with it. Might be a better idea just to go straight off the back, huh? Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go straight off the back with it. All right. Alright, so you guys are probably asking yourself, why can't I use this? Well, if you look at the height difference, you can see this will dig into the bottom of your intake manifold. As you can see, there's actually chafing marks on the top of the bolt. This will not. So I'm going to continue replacing them one by one by one, and then we're going to go through the torque sequence. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 swapped out. Now there's one back here at the back that doesn't get changed out, so that's just going to get retorqued down. It is 18 foot-pounds of torque. So I got the torque wrench set. We're going to start here in the middle. Actually, let me go get an extension. I'll be right back. You notice there's a pattern. And we're just working our way from the very center back to the outside edge. Alright, I'm going to be taking them back out now because I just realized I forgot the Loctite. Alright guys, so I'm going to be removing these nuts. And then installing the gaskets, flipping it over. Then we are going to go and take care of the injectors. And we're going to swap over the injectors and we're going to install the rail and the spacers and all that cool stuff. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got most of these injectors already done. What you're going to do is you're going to lubricate these, the new O-rings. These are new O-rings. I saved my old ones because they're not that bad, but since I had a new set, I figured I might as well go ahead. So you're going to lubricate these with some clean motor oil, old motor oil, whatever you got. You're going to want to lubricate the inside of the bore too. And what you're going to do is just kind of wiggle it, and you're going to pop one side in and then pop the other. And you just got to play with it until it seats. Just like that. And then it's just going to pop into place. And you can check the depth here on your injector tips. Make sure that they're protruding, make sure that it's seated all the way. Go ahead and pop you out. Show you what I'm looking at so you can see. That's what it looks like when it's fully seated. And being careful not to spill the motor oil. We're going to flip this up and you can see where the injectors sit on the bottom, and that's how you know you've done it right. So I'm going to go ahead and continue now. There's hundreds of thousands of different YouTube videos on how to do this. That's why I didn't bother to walk you guys through it. But basically you just take the old O-ring off, lubricate the new one with some clean motor oil, slide her home. That's it. I mean, there's nothing really self-explanatory to it. It's really, it's easy. It's easy. If you're thinking about it or you're dreading it, it means you're thinking too much. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and seat the fuel injector rail to the top of these bad boys, and then we're going to bolt it down. These are the fast extensions. I've already dry fit the rail, so I know that everything is going to line up as it needs to line up. Now, if you have an LS6, you do not need these. There should be some button head screws, and I can't find them, so I just found something that'll work instead. And these are already torqued, 89 inch-pounds. Don't know what else to say about that, really. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and continue on and get this fuel rail mounted. And I'm going to replace the gasket over here for the throttle body. And we're going to go ahead after I've done that, and then I'm going to install the lower intake manifold seals, which go down here. And I'll show you guys how to do that. And we'll go back out to the car, do a little bit more light cleanup on it, and get it installed. Okay, so as you can see, I had to fight it a little bit more. I thought I had everything right. I didn't. I found some other screws that fit. If you have a look here, that's the, let me move you in a little closer. So that's the proper fast button head. I had two, and I just found two additional ones that came with the fast hardware kit. They're not the right ones, but they'll get the job done. And then those are the fast fuel rail bolts. So the next thing that I'm doing is, this is AC Delco 2171424. That's the clips for the fuel injectors. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. They just slide in. They go right here. There's a little groove on the injector. It's pretty self-explanatory when you get in there. If you remove the old ones, you'll remember what the new ones look like. Anyway. All right, so the safety clips are in, and everything's seated, everything's torqued, everything's ready to go back on. Just going to go ahead and replace the intake, the throttle body gasket, and we'll be ready to rock.
Do we really want to know? What happened down here?
Kim, Mark, Lucas, Dad, they're all dead.
There's just two left.
All right, so you can see I've got these installed and lubricated. So you just basically dip a finger in clean motor oil, slap the, just basically push it in until it's seated. That's all there is to it. It's not rocket science. Anyway, we're gonna get this bad boy outside and get it on the car. All right, so now we're getting ready to reinstall it. So I got everything I need right here. Got the torque wrench, got all that good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little WD-40 and just kind of wipe out the last of this grease and put it back. All right, so you guys can see we got everything in. I just got everything run down. I haven't snugged it. Do not snug it. That's what the torque is for. Map sensor at the back. It's got a, you basically have to run a bead of RTV around it and then just kind of stab it in. You can see my extension harness here. I've already got it run. So next thing I've got to do is I'm going to go back in real quick. I'm going to grab my phone because I've already got the image of the torque sequence, and we're going to move it in 3 steps. So we're going to follow the sequence through 1. We're going to torque it to 60 inch-pounds. We're going to torque it again to 70, and then we're going to go up again to 89. You can do it pretty much in any combination that you wish to do it, but I'm going to do it in those 3 steps because that just kind of makes sense to me. Alright, so that was the first pass. I did 50 inch-pounds. Now we're going to move it up to, let's go 70. Move it up to 70, and then we're going to do a final pass of 89 inch-pounds. Alright guys, last pass. So there's 80, 85, and 89. This side. Mustard. Alright guys, final pass. Bolt 1. Sorry, I had an SD card error, so I don't know if any of that came out. So we're just going to walk it through again real quick. No. There we are. 89 inch-pounds. There's 2. Check that again just to make sure. Alright, so there's 3. 4. There's 4. 5. Yep, I've miscalculated. There's 5. There we go. Alright guys. So now we're back to number 8. There's 7. I'm sorry, here's 6, here's 7. Here's 8. And here's 9. And last one, guys. Number 10. We're just gonna run back through real quick. 89, 89, 89, 89, 89, 89. And 89. So there we go, guys. Good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and start hooking everything else back up, and we're gonna go from there. Alright guys, so before I get too far into this, we're going to Loctite these. So we're just going to take them back out real quick. A little thread locker. And since this is the one that's a pain in the ass, this is the one that's coming out first. connection while we're at it. A little bit goes a long way, guys. I know my engine bay is dirty, I'm sorry. Not much I can do about that. I am, however, hoping to do a pretty good detailed cleaning here soon. These are also 89 inch-pounds, just so you guys know. And do use a torque wrench, guys. Alright, so now she's good to go. Be right back with the 10mm. Alrighty. So we're just going to get this torque down. Double check the torque wrench. Set 4. It's 95. Take it back, that's 85. Alright, so there's 80. There's 5. And there's 9. And before we put the intake tube in, we're going to double tap all the connections. Make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. And then we're going to prime the fuel system. 89. 89. There's no real sequence for this. I do it at a diagonal. You can do it in any order you want. I just like to do a diagonal. No rhyme, no reason. Probably smarter to run these down by hand if you can, or with a 1/4-inch ratchet. I'm going to run these down by hand. Alright. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that's left now is I got to hook up the HP tuners, reset the fuel trims, and go do some data logging. This is Byron at DTA Wheels. You're now smarter. wants to be a pain in the ass today. I do not see or smell any fuel leaks, so that's a good thing. Throttle body couplers on. Well, fuck. That just put a damper on my day, boys. Now I gotta find it. Alright. Go get my flashlight. Well, fuck, there ain't shit I can do about that. It's all the way sitting down on top of the splash guard. Ah, fuck. Bet you that's where it's at. Alright, well, we'll get that out later. At least we know it's not anywhere that's gonna hurt the motor. That's the most critical point. I gotta take that splash guard off anyway. Get everything cleaned out properly. Some of you may notice that my Volant box is awfully loose, and the answer is yes, it fucking is. It doesn't move. That's what matters. Get to the connections, and it is. I wish I had a smaller plant, but I don't. Alright, so there's that. Awesomely super critical fresh air vent. Am I lucky? Yes, I am. Good. Snug. All the connections are good. All right, let's crank her over. Start it up.